Hi, my name is Carl and I'm from Australia, and I just finished a 90-minute long lesson with Quinn from iSpeak Vietlingo. And I wanted to tell you a bit about my experience. Okay, so I'll go through a couple of things that I learned while doing this lesson. So one thing that actually surprised me about the lesson was that they also use the Latin alphabet. So that made things a lot easier to learn, although there were a few slight little differences in a couple of the letters. So just a few of the letters they're missing is the J, W, and Z, and they have a bunch of different letters with different signs on the top of them, like this. And by using those, you actually pronounce the letters in slightly different ways. So this really changes the way you pronounce the words. So like many Western countries, it uses the Latin alphabet, and this makes it a lot easier to understand, unlike maybe from Japan or Chinese, where they have different characters. Interestingly enough, Vietnamese is what they call a tonal language. They have different pitches and sounds for the letters. So now, like when I hear Vietnamese talking, it kind of almost sounds like they're singing because of the different tones of the letters. Another thing I found interesting was the pronouns that they use for different genders or different age groups. And honestly, this kind of reminded me a little bit of the German language, because they actually also have many different words for different pronouns. So depending on the age or the gender of someone, you would address them in different ways. And so now this really makes sense to me why the Vietnamese might think it's not rude to ask someone like how old they are. So you can actually make sure you're addressing them in the correct way. Now, this isn't considered rude. This is completely natural in their country. So actually when you see someone and you don't know if they're like older or younger than you, so it's actually better to assume someone's older if you don't know how old they are. This way it's a bit more respectful. So for example, an or chi is just dependent on the age. Also, I didn't realize how short Vietnamese words were. For example, the word for Australia is just uk. And well, Australia, that's a pretty long word. Especially, I originally lived in Germany and they have massively long words. So then to come to Vietnam and learn that one of the longest words is only about 7 characters, that really blew my mind. So it's really all just dependent on the tonal language and the tonal words. And this is how they have so many shorter words for different things. So learning this was a great experience, and to actually go out and use these phrases and not feel so embarrassed and feel a bit more like I'm immersed within the local culture was a really great thing. So I thoroughly enjoyed this lesson and would highly recommend it to anyone.